accent of Mongolia. From the Tibetan Institute of Performing Arts, we're offering the traditional performance is making about whether he takes the whole of this Shang from the touch the birth. This is a welcome song. Andre, closer. I can't hear. 1, 2, 3. Everything is on.
Through this merit, may I attain the all-knowing state, and overcome the turbulence of the ocean of suffering, birth, death, aging. This is a 7-line Vajra prayer of Guru Padmasambhava. This is the prayer to His Holiness the Dalai Lama in one verse composed by Tibetan Rinpoche. Now we are saying the prayer to Buddha Shakyamuni, written by His Holiness the Dalai Lama. This prayer pays homage to the Buddha, who is also known as the Lion of Shakyas. And it recounts this statement that the Buddha made, saying that his teaching would spread from north of India, from India to north, from Tibet, which means from India to Tibet and from there to Mongolia. And therefore, this complete teaching of the Buddha, having spread in Tibet, has now become the ornament of the world. However, due to our negative karma, due to the power of negative karma, the Buddha Dharma has declined, and also the environment of the world has declined, and people are inflicted by suffering. And therefore, it's time for the Buddha's compassion to protect the Dharma and the beings of the world. And therefore we, the Tibetan people from the land of snows, with fervent dedication and sincerity, collectively make offerings of the Buddha, offering to the Buddha statue in Bodh Gaya. This was when the prayer was composed. We made offerings, collecting money from all Tibetans, inside and outside Tibet, and offered the crown protrusion made of gold. And offered the robes and the begging bowl to the Buddha in the main stupa in Bodh Gaya. And with whatever great merit we may have collected, merit and wisdom, may it help for the survival of the teaching of the Buddha for a long. And His Holiness also prays that through the practice of love and compassion, may there be no conflict and fighting in the world. And may the world environment recover. May the needy not suffer, the poor and needy. May everyone live in peace and harmony. May all the different followers of the different religious traditions live in harmony and give their service to the benefit beings of the world. And may the Buddha Dharma that has declined in Tibet recover and bring happiness, lasting and immediate happiness and well-being to the world, to the beings of Tibet. And may those who have served and are serving the Tibetan central administration, who have dedicated their life to the service, to its service, may they be guided by Avalokiteshvara, life after life. Then next was a prayer to Guru Padma Sambhava. And now we are saying the prayer to the 17 Nalanda Masters, written by His Holiness Dalai Lama. This is a prayer to first the Buddha and then the 17 Nalanda Masters. Begin with Master Nagarjuna, who was the pioneer, trailblazer of the Madhyamaka philosophical school. Followed by Master Aryadeva, his chief disciple, and then Buddha Palita, Chandrakirti, Bhaviveka, Chandrakirti, Shantideva, Chandrakshita, Kamalashil. Then there are Vimukti Sena, Haribhadra, Asanga, Vasubandhu, Dharmakirti, Dignaga Dharmakirti, Guna Prabha, Shakya Prabha, and Master Atisha Dibankara Srijana. Master Chandrakshita being the Indian abbot responsible for ordaining the Tibetans into the Buddhist monastic tradition, giving the monastic ordination for the first time in Tibet. And Master Atisha was responsible for reviving the teaching of the Buddha when it had declined after the religious persecution by the Tibetan king Langdharma. in the 9th century. So Aditya came in the 11th century to Tibet and revived the teaching.
Gonjo, Gonzo, Wenza, Dongba, Ganzoni, Chibi, Changwin, Jimmy, Dorjo, Chibi, Dandan, Cheba, Bolo, Jongda, Mojo, Payo, Renzin, Jesu, Kanchen, Meiji, Jambon, Yeshu, Sozu, Nori, Chaba, Hero, Cheba, Bolo, Jongda, Mojo. This
is a prayer to the lineage masters of the Nyingma tradition. Making prayer and offerings and seeking blessings of the common and uncommon, extraordinary siddhis.
Ari Gane Dabe Yinjing Gundu Zazon Jatara Yangsha Nilo Ranshara Jabe Choje Na Dune Jobe Janla Nila Sin Tada Jujin Tobe Sanjing or Shave Dazo Junjuro Maintain Yeji Jome Rose Gun Tudara Nando Tabra Chenje Lo Sali Manjon Peji Jagam De Nendro Ponga Tangse Jong Chojara Dambe Shangje Hong Kong To Nyeda Yeje Meye Sedo So Nego Haye Dechen Parshin Reme Rari Dorje Sembe Sharan Java Zason Soje Dajin Lamzan Dende Gaden Ema
It's tea time. This is a grace for the sweetened rice, ceremonial rice. So, His Holiness is speaking now. For this, those who have come, especially to offer this long life prayer to me, I would like to greet everyone. So, Gaden Chogoling, and Gonjo people, and Tibetans living in Bhutan, and the Chushi Gandruk, and Rabgang Sonam family are making this long life offering. I would like to thank you. So at our very difficult time, we are in a very difficult time in our history, but we have truth on our side. So the Tibetans living inside Tibet mainly, and every other Tibetan outside of Tibet living in different parts of the world, we have this spirit of being Tibetans, the strong spirit of being Tibetan, and therefore we have been undaunted and kept our religion and culture alive so far. So all Tibetans lived in solidarity as one entity and kept up with our tradition. This is the main offering of Denshuk, long life offering. And so those of you who are here represent the Tibetans everywhere inside. So here we are not talking about merely what was known as Tibet according to the Simla Agreement, Simla Treaty, but all Tibetans living in Tibetan area. So we have been living as one people, but in our historically we have lived rather fragmented. For example, where my native land was not part of the Gaden government of Tibet, and my parents, if you ask my parents in those days who was their leader, they would say Siling Mapufang. And then there is this division within the Tibetan land, those that came under the Chinese jurisdiction and those that came under the Tibetan government jurisdiction. And so there have been very sad events. But when we faced all these difficulties and problems together, then we actually lived in solidarity as one people, like it was the case during the time of the Tibetan emperors in the ancient times. So the people living in the three traditional provinces lived as one entity. And so today, here you are sincerely and with a pure heart making this Denshuk long life offering. And so this represents the Tibetan people's solidarity and unity of the Tibetan people. So all Tibetans trust me and keep their hope in me for this during the 60 years of our exile. When we first came into exile, we had nobody to turn to. We only knew the only things that were familiar to us was the sky and the earth. But we lived in unity, and in the last 60 years now, of course there were many there are many other refugees and exile, people living in exile, but there's none like the Tibetans who live in unity as one people. Though we are living in exile outside of our own land, but during our exile, we have actually kept up with our tradition, our values. So Nehru, the then Indian Prime Minister, told me that to work for the Tibetan cause, the main cause is education of the Tibetan children, and therefore we set up Tibetan schools which were financed by the Indian government under the auspices of Nehru and the Indian Ministry of Education. So as we say, hope for the best but be prepared for the worst. We are struggling for the Tibetan cause, which is not about just one generation of Tibetans, but for Tibetans as long as we live in exile. And so most of the people who have arrived in exile from Tibet in 1959 are no more today. But Tibetans, wherever they are living in the world, in different parts of the world, we have been dedicating ourselves to the Tibetan cause so that this sunny day for Tibet would shine. So in the beginning, though we only knew, the only things that were familiar to us were the earth and the sky. Now, today, many people around the world, non-Tibetans, are aware of the Tibetan situation, the Tibetan cause. And for over 1,000 years, the tradition of the Nalanda tradition of Buddhism, which emphasizes logic. So, at the advice of Chandarakshita, Master Abbot Chandarakshita, who said that you have your own script, the Tibetan writing, and therefore advised to translate the Buddhist texts into Tibetan so that you don't have to resort to Sanskrit or any other language. And some of my friends have told me that Master Chandarakshita himself took interest in learning Tibetan as well at that very ripe age when he was in Tibet. And therefore, a separate department for translation called the Department of Translation was set up. Dragyur Lobending was set up in the Samye monastic compound. And therefore, now we have the scriptures in our own language without having to resort to other languages. So, in the past, the Nalanda Monastic University was the center of learning. And so it was a very precious institution, and there had been many masters, like the 17 Nalanda masters, of whom we did the prayer. And so their wisdom and good counsel and explanation of the teaching are with us today in our own language, thanks to Master Chandarakshita. He was known as a great abbot Chandarakshita, Bodhisattva Chandarakshita. So when when Trisong Detsen invited him to Tibet to establish Buddhism on the Tibetan soil, they faced a lot of obstacles inside and outside. And therefore, Chandrakshita advised the king, Trisong Detsen, to invite the master of accomplishment, Master Padmasambhava. So, the Tibetan Dharma Emperor, Trisong Detsen, and the Abbot Chandrakshita, the Tibetan king, the Master Padmasambhava, and the Tibetan king, Trisong Detsen, were known as the Trier of Khenlop Chösum. And so, in this Nalanda tradition, what we do is study, reflect, and meditate on the teaching of the Buddha, so that we are able to understand the Dharma through learning, gain conviction through reflection, and gain experience, develop experience through meditation. So these three processes are done and practiced in unison. And today we are able to explain the teaching of the Buddha. So quantum physics, for example, is well known in the world today. But when you study Chittamatra and Madhyamaka philosophical school philosophies, we can actually understand that we already have that understanding of, or the concept of quantum physics. So one of the Indian nuclear physicists told me that quantum physics is something new in the West today, but in India, more than 2,500 years ago, the idea of quantum physics has already been discovered. And then he also quoted some lines from Master Nagarjuna's Mula Madhyamaka Karika. And so since Buddhism, the Nalanda tradition, was established in Tibet, we, the Tibetans, have used our courage, our determination, and our wisdom to study, reflect, and meditate on the teaching of the Buddha. And we have produced many great scholars and practitioners of Buddhism in Tibet. And today we are able to have discussions and go on par with the scientists, modern scientists. So when I was small, of course I was studying with this Nalanda tradition, but I was more interested in playing, receiving toys from Westerners. When I received toys, I play with it a little bit, and then I dismantle the toys to study the mechanism of it. And so this was what I did in my childhood. And then I also studied how the movie projector worked, its mechanism. So these days I have discussions with modern scientists. Sometimes I go to their place, sometimes they come to my place, and so having had discussions and dialogues with scientists, I have told people that if we could have discussions and dialogues with scientists, we may not lag behind. We should not feel discouraged to do that. And therefore, the monastic institutions of learning should also include learning science. But some elderly monks expressed their concern: if we taught science to the monks, will it not harm our tradition? So I said it may not be the case, because the Buddha himself has said, "O monks and scholars, just as the gold is tested by scorching, rubbing and polishing, likewise you should examine my teaching, experiment and investigate my teaching, and then accept it, not because you have trust or you have faith or devotion to me." And so these masters, Nalanda masters, the 17 Nalanda masters, if you study their texts, their reasoning and their use of logic is marvelous. So even scientists, modern scientists, learn from Buddhist literature, Buddhist philosophy and Buddhist science regarding psychology, and so they learn from our tradition, Buddhist tradition. And then some Chinese scholars also have said that the Buddhism that is spread in Tibet is pure, in the pure Nalanda tradition, and it is scientific. So this is what they say. So we published a book compiled from the Gonjo and Tenjo literature, and the Chinese universities have access to these books. And so because these were published by us outside of Tibet and China, the general public do not have access to them, but the universities do have. And therefore, regarding this tradition that we have, it's not only about keeping up and preserving our own tradition for ourselves alone, but it could be of great service to humanity. So when I give Buddha statues to different people, I explain by saying that this person, Buddha Shakyamuni, of course for us Buddhists, he was the founder, teacher, a Buddha. But generally speaking, he was also a philosopher because of his explanation of the idea of quantum physics. And then because he said that whatever he has taught should be examined, should be experimented through practice. I mean, therefore, he was a scientist, ancient Indian scientist. So, Buddha's teaching, which has a profound philosophy and does not depend on blind faith, but through reasoning. The teachings are established through reasoning. Therefore, the Nalanda tradition, those who keep up with the Nalanda tradition will not accept things easily right away when somebody says something, but we always have this question, why and how? So in the beginning of the Sutta Artha, Master Haribhadra says that there are two types of followers of the Buddha. One type who follow the teaching just on faith, but the other one follows through reason. in order to draw faith in what is known as the mothers of the Shravakas, Bodhisattvas and Buddhas. They do examine the nature of these mothers, the understanding of the true nature of things. So in Tibet in the past, there were very few who actually understood the teaching well through study. Although there were many lamas who were able to give teachings, who gave teachings to other people, but when it comes to really explaining the classical texts, there were very few who could do that. But therefore, most people were following the teaching more or less on faith, following in the pattern of those without intelligence. But we have a tradition which emphasizes the pattern of intelligent followers. Therefore, the teaching of the Buddha that we have is something marvelous. And those people who take interest in Tibetan course also take interest in the Tibetan Buddhist tradition, and therefore their support to the Tibetan course naturally grows. And then our language for the Tibetan religion and tradition to explain Buddhist psychology and Buddhist epistemology and logic. Tibetan language is the best language today. So no other language cannot explain the teaching with regard to these subjects precisely as the Tibetan language. And therefore, if you wish to study Buddhist philosophy, Buddhist logic, then the Tibetan language is the best language for that. And therefore, I make distinction. So I make the point that although you find science and aspects of science and logic in Buddhist literature, but we can actually take these as academic, intellectual subjects in the schools, whether you are a believer or not. And also, particularly those who believe in a particular religion. So although we have these different sciences, such as the science of healing medicine, the science of inner science of Buddhism, and arts and crafts, and so forth. So it's very important for us to make this distinction between what pertains to religion and what pertains to general study, general subject. And so what we find in terms of philosophy, psychology, and so forth could be treated as intellectual, academic subject without considering it to be religion. So, studying philosophy, studying emotions of mind and so forth, we can still do investigation into the nature of the mind, the workings of the mind and emotions and so forth, and to produce or to bring about peace in the world and peaceful mind. So, for example, Namdurling Monastery is one of the biggest Nyingma monasteries, where you have extensive study of Buddhist philosophy. I've been to your monastery many times, and I've witnessed your monks doing debate, and therefore, witnessing all these, I feel how grateful we are to Benno Rinpoche. So for decades, Benno Rinpoche worked hard. So in the beginning, you had a very thin, slim pillar. And then as decades went by, the pillars also grew in size, becoming bigger and bigger. And so, studying with this philosophical texts, these great classic texts, is very important to serve the Tibetan cause as well. And so, Benno Rinpoche's monastery has been serving the Buddha Dharma very well. So I have talked with the Rinpoche from the Namdrolling. I've talked about the general structure of the Buddhism and the specialized teachings. So for the specialized teachings to be able to work efficiently, you need the general structure of, you need to understand the general structure of Buddhism well. So if we could follow the pattern of intelligent followers of the teaching of the Buddha, the teaching could serve or survive 4 more centuries. And so, everyone, all the Tibetan Buddhist traditions, including Burn tradition, I would like to urge you to work hard, still continue to work hard. And when I visited the Burnt monastery in Solan, I have witnessed you also quoting from Madhyamaka Avatara by Chandrakirti. So some people who did not really understand the Tibetan Buddhist tradition well, some Tibetans, some followers in the West, the Western followers of Tibetan Buddhism have even said that Master Nagarjuna was a Gelugpa. That's not correct. So in the case of Sakya Pandita, for example, he wrote the Treasury of Logic and took special interest in logic and epistemology. So in other words, we have many great scholars from all the different traditions, Sakya Nyingma, Gelu, Kagyu, so forth, who have studied, emphasized the study of logic. If we could actually pay attention to study the Buddha Dharma through logic, the study Madhyamaka philosophy, study Parchin, or the progression along the path, Abhisamayalamkara and so forth, it would actually bring about peace of mind. And then, if you are able to do your studies and study and practice well in this life, you could expect to have good life in the next rebirth. And so, you could also create karmic relationship with your gurus. As we pray, may I, from life after life, not be separated from my perfect guru, and enjoy the Dharma feast and progress along the paths and grounds and attain the state of Vajradhara. So of course we can see difference in people's mentality and their aptitude in learning. Some could learn very easily without much difficulty. Others take more time, have more difficulty. So this shows our karmic imprints from the past as well. And so you should all continue to pursue the study of Buddhist philosophy and logic, and then be able to tread along the path as referred by the Heart Sutra mantra, Tatyatha Gate Gate, Paragate, Parasangate Bodhiswaha, go beyond, go perfectly beyond, and found the Bodhi. So we should not feel depressed, discouraged in any way, because it will not be of any help to oneself and others. So our power lies in the power of truth, and whereas Chinese rely on the power of the gun. So the power of truth is in the end more powerful than the power of gun. So that's all I have to say today. Let's continue with the prayer, Tenshuk prayer. So this is the practice of giving bath or ablution. First we invoke the enlightened beings, the Buddha, and give birth in this fragrant, exquisite crystal chamber. Ornate with pearls and balustrades. As soon as you were born, the Buddha was born, he was given this divine bath with the divine water, the pure water. And likewise, I give bath to you with this divine water. And then the next verse says, this is the water of generosity, which purifies the stain of miserliness, and being touched with the smell or fragrance of generosity, giving. I shall give this bath with the excellent water. And then it goes on with giving bath for pure morality, and then patience, joyous effort, meditative concentration, and wisdom. So with the water of morality, the immorality or misbehavior, stains of misbehavior are cleansed, and you'll be you'll have the smell of morality, the pure morality. And then for patience, the opposite factor, the opposing factor is anger, and that is cleansed through this water of patience. And joyous effort is in opposition to that of laziness, indolence. Single-pointed concentration opposes distraction of mind, and wisdom counters stray intelligence. So at the end of our Om Hum Tram Shri Akaya Vishuddhana Swaha, the mantra purification is recited. Page 5. Dakinis come forth with 5 different colors of costume. Mantra Shripamantarjita Hompe and Om Sabhava Shuddha Sarva Dharma Sabhava Shuddho Hang is recited, and then Om Ahum, the 3 syllables representing the body, speech and mind to be purified, and these purified states of body, speech and mind. Namasava Tathagata Beo Vishwamukhi Bea Sarvatat Kam Udgati Spranahimam Gagana Kam Soha. That mantra is recited 3 times. Mother, from which dawns all things in samsara and nirvana. in reality is the wisdom, primordial, pristine wisdom, which are the purified states of the five poisons. And then the five sports, illusory sports of the five Buddha families arise in varieties of forms. The five in the form of five dakinis, with innumerable messengers. You are draped with beautiful costumes, symbolic of your speech. Your speech is symbolic, and your mind or heart is overcast with the cloud of great bliss with which you are drunk. Please pay attention to these words I utter. Guardian, you are the representative of the Master, Vajra Master, in body, the bodily representation or representative of the cloud of Samantabhadra, the glorious Samantabhadra, filling up this space like a treasure, filling up the space. I offer it proliferation as uncontaminated nectar, accepting it gladly with great joy. May the glorious Master's lifespan be extended. all the obstacles be averted. And may you live steadfast. As long as time endures. And may you give teachings to innumerable beings, giving profound Dharma teachings, so that the beings would be matured, spiritually matured, mentally matured, and liberated without any obstacle. And then each of the Dakinis of the eastern direction, the white Dakini of the eastern direction, is invoked. So the eastern Dakini belongs to the Vajra lineage, and then next is the western Dakini, Dakini of the western direction. Which belongs to the lotus lineage, is invoked for the longevity of the glorious master. Next is the Dakini of the southern region, belonging to the previous one is the red in color, and this one is yellow in color. Belonging to the Ratna lineage. And then the central Dakini, belonging to the Buddha lineage, is invoked. And each of these Dakinis are surrounded by 100,000 retinue Dakinis. And they offer this torma, the ritual cake, which is in essence nectar. Central Dakini is blue in color, and then you have the northern direction Dakini, green in color, belonging to the Karma lineage. So these 5 Dakinis are invoked to cut all the obstacles extend the lifelong lifespan of the glorious Master. Effigy of the Guru is being carried out by the 5 Dakinis. The effigy is beautified or ornate with all the tapestry. Mantra Shri Padmanta Kirta Humpet Swabhava Shuddha Sarvadharma Swabhava Shuddhoham. Everything turns into, dissolves into emptiness. And from within the state of emptiness arises a lion throne, which is marked with, on which are the lotus and sun and moon discs that arises from the Shri syllable. So upon these cushions from the Shri syllable, the Master, Vajra Master, in the form of Bhagwan Amitayus, arises, red in color, like the ruby red color, majestic looking, with one face and 2 hands, peaceful, with peaceful demeanor, and 2 hands in the meditation posture, holding the nectar of immortality contained in the vase. So the Guru holds the zenda, stick, which looks like a spear. So this is invoking Amitayus. So these lines invoke the different deities, female deities like Mamaki and so forth, who are related to the elements like water, earth, fire, and so forth, so that whichever elements have declined, they are recuperated for the long life of the Guru, Master, glorious Master. So that the Guru lives immutably and indestructibly steadfast. So all the essence of longevity in samsara nirvana dissolve into this blessed substance, and it transforms into light and dissolves or is absorbed into the Sri, which is the symbol of the pure life force and heart or mind, and it dissolves into the Guru. And the Guru becomes indestructible Vajra essence. Deities of longevity are invoked so that our Master, Lord, Guru's life is conferred the immortality, life of immortality. So this Vajra, the essence of immortality, method of substance, the substance of method, by tasting it, the Guru receive or attain the longevity, empowerment, immortality, longevity, empowerment. Immortal life empowerment, I should say. So these five amritas, which are the nectar of immortality, the herbs, 1,000 different herbs. By tasting it, may the Guru attain the life empowerment of longevity. Five wisdoms of immortality, and with the power of the Buddhas, the Tathagatas' blessings, by touching it, the Guru's unfavorable conditions for long life are cleansed or averted, pacified, and the pillar of Vajra life force, immortality, Vajra life force, is founded. May the Guru live as firm as the indestructible swastika, and attain all the common and uncommon cities. So this prayer is called the three Vajra, indestructible Vajra for long life. May you live for the sake of sentient beings across the expanse of space. May you live as the chief of the Buddha Dharma. May you live for the benefit of all wandering sentient beings until samsara comes to an end or samsara becomes empty. Pray to the Father Gurus. May the Father and his heirs, the line of heirs, give their blessings. And through which may the glorious Master, Guru, have this steadfast, immutable mind or heart, and have the compassionate mind and wisdom, knowing everything and the way things are. May the Guru sit upon this lion-supported throne with the cushions of lotus, sun, and moon. May the Master sit upon this immutable Vajra seat. Immutable Vajra seat. as the chief of the Buddha Dharma, for the benefit of all sentient beings, for the sake of sentient beings equal to the expanse of the space, until the end of samsara. And then the Father, gurus and their heirs, lines of heirs are invoked to bless the guru, our guru, to sit upon this Vajra seat throne, which is pure, primordially pure, and which is this Vajra seat, which is the union of appearance and emptiness, and the union of inseparable luminosity and emptiness. There is no greater seat or throne than this. And therefore, think of this and sit upon this throne. This throne, supported by a line, with the cushions of lotus, sun and moon. Please sit upon it. And Lama sit upon this immutable seat of Vajra, and so forth, until the end of space. Now we are saying the prayer of the seven limbs from the king of prayers, Samandabhadra, Pranidhana. Mandala offering. Please accept this mandala offering and bless us. This ground anointed with fragrant water. Strewn with flowers. Adorned with Mount Meru, the four continents, the sun and the moon. Imagine this as a Buddha field and offer it to you. May all enlightened beings enjoy the pure land. So the personification of all the victorious ones, the venerable Master Guru, by offering this statue adorned with the major and minor marks, may you live for 100 eons, oceans of eons, and be auspicious all the time. And the Lord of Dharma, Venerable Master, by offering this Mahayana scripture from your speech with the 60 aspects, may the rains of Dharma, of extensive and profound Dharma, shower upon us. Master, Venerable Master Guru, who has attained the supreme primordial wisdom, by offering this representation of the Dharmakaya of Buddhas, may you may your mind, which is the union of emptiness and wisdom, emptiness and compassion, with this may you think of us. And then the offering of the yellow robe, Namjar, is by offering this pure Namjar, which represents the Guru being accomplished in learning. May you live as steadfast as the swastika, unwaveringly, and uphold the victory banner of the Buddha Dharma. And then the other yellow robe is offered, and then the lower garment, the skirt, and the hat, mattress, begging bowl, and the Kursil staff. His Holiness was talking to Gaden Rinpoche to keep himself warm. So this prayer is invoking the lineage masters of the Nyingma tradition. In the Nyingma tradition, they call the Gyewa Gonjo, Rinzindagyu, and Kansa Nyingyu. So masters of the host of masters of these lineages. The mind transmission of the victorious ones, the symbolic transmissions of the Vidyadharas, and the individual transmissions of the whispered lineage, the humans. To bless our master with the unchanging siddhi of longevity. And the master is invoked and urged not to pass away
Zhona Chage Yage Nianzen Be Toje Danja Doje Dabo Den Saji Wanjo Jianbo Shoden.
This is the long life prayer of His Holiness Dalai Lama, written by Jamyang Khyentse Choekhor Lotu Rinpoche, the immediate previous predecessor to Dharamsala Khyentse Rinpoche.
So Yanda Rebe Choden Ba Chole Nanjara Chen Shoden So Lozon Jawe Denba Renbo Je Jedo Leje Kole Choja Be Gonge Dije La Jidra Mai Senge Shoden So Nanzon Jison Sanga Lanje Ren Wanje Nanjoro Zame Deje Den Goye Yeje Manzon Nianze Ba Choda Doje Chang Shoden So Ngobo Gonje Nen Dozon Nianzo Mebe Lenje Je Yeje Nianme Zeje Menso Wa Nanjoro Wanjo Chenbo Shoden So Jude Jiangzi Songwa Gon Mendo Kaba Nongji Junzon Bo Gazan Doje Jianza Zhenze Ba Songwa Zenbe Dabo Shoden So Gongde Roba Xia Xianya Dene Sheme Roche Wa Tubara Gunda Somo Ome Ala Nge Shoden So Chena Jianzo Yeme Tunko Lo Leba Dange Renzen Mema Bore Jiangso Gewe Sheso Den Sanje Ngo Shoden So Chene Jege Wezara Dine Lan Tengan Ba Shame Ranjo Ndibi Jasa Jo Gongzong Deme Gambo Shoden So Dona Doden Yongzo Xinda Den Mando Chage Nenla Nianba Cha Tenda Ndowa Genji Shoji Bo Tenzin Jiangzi Ombo Chegu Zonoroji Gangi Shobe Dajin Kolo La Guji Daji Lenja Duba Ye Chuji Jabo Jumbo Shoden So Name Dide Ayin Wang Tuzo Nibi Doje Zajaba Gaba Shoden So Nyuma Mishin Tilen Kiwe Jen Chimi Mande Jambo Nage Wancho Yomiko Dege Yonda Jambo Shin Yurmen Doje Mawo Shantian So Zechin
This is another long life prayer called the sound or the melody of the Vajra true words, written by the former Dunjum Rinpoche, Gyabje Dunjum Rinpoche Jigdele Ishidoji. This is Rabgang, a former government official.
Ba Daje Neje Gense Banzo Namba Yonzo Ye So Lame Jone Janzo Janlo Da Denye Dende Lame Dage Lazan Mabende Nume Dajo Jai Bamba Cho
This is another long life prayer. Short prayer written by Chushi Rinpoche. Next is the long life prayer written by Gyabchi, the late Gyabchi Rinpoche and Gyabchi Shang Rinpoche, the two tutors of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. So this prayer invokes the lineage masters and prays for them to bless His Holiness the Dalai Lama to live for 100 eons, the Lord of the land of snow, Tenzin Gyatso. May he live for 100 eons, and may all his aspirations be fulfilled with ease. And then so this praise sequentially the lineage masters, and then the Yidam meditational deities, invoking them to bless His Holiness Dalai Lama to live long and that his aspirations may be fulfilled. And then the Buddhas, the victorious ones, are invoked. Then the Dharma of the three vehicles are invoked, and then the Sangha, and after the Sangha, the Dharma protectors. The darkers and darkinis. Live in the channel grounds. In other words, the three different regions. And then the Dharma protectors who bear the Vajra upon their heads, tied with their top knot. So having made this fervent prayer and supplication to the unfailing object of refuge, two tutors pray that all the misfortunes of this unfortunate eon that we live in may be overcome, and may His Holiness the Dalai Lama, our sole protector of the land of snows, may his three secrets of his body, speech and mind be unwavered and indestructible and unfading, and that he may sit upon this Vajra throne for 100 eons, unwaveringly. Then after this prayer, written by the two tutors, there's the one verse, long life prayer, which says, "The land of snows, surrounded by snow-capped mountain, in the land of snows, the source of all goodness and well-being." Avalokiteshvara, in person, Gyatso, may you live until the end of space. So I would like to thank you. This ritual is very profound and quite extensive. So occasionally I do medical checkup. Doctors check me, check my health, and recently in my recent medical checkup, the hemoglobin level, which was low earlier, had increased, and the doctors were very happy about this. And I had done the full body checkup with the help of specialists for the different parts of the checkup. And so your prayers also at a time when I am doing what is worthy of a human being to do. So at such a time of critical time in our history, I also feel that if I cannot do without living long, and so I whip up my courage to live long. And so on top of that, when the doctors also say that my health is very good, so I do pray to live over 100 years. So please keep this in mind and be at ease. So this is now the offering of the auspicious substances as part of the long life prayer offering. First, Sri Pamandati the Homped, Omso Baba Shida Savadamaso Baba Shida Hang. And then from within the state of emptiness, from Mum, arises the 8 auspicious substances. With the potency with the potential for serving or functioning their respective functions.
Bala, Lamboje, Sasonging, Wampo, Tashi, Bezezo, Shinje Laba, De, Shindo, Dender, Gonza Champion, Tamji, Ziba, Jimbo, Jolang, Wang, Zebro, Latene, Shabe, Kaba, Janzo.
So with this Giwon substance, which was offered to the Buddha in the past, was blessed for auspiciousness, and therefore we offer this to His Holiness the Dalai Lama. This Giwon substance, which destroys the 3 poisons of sicknesses. It's a medicine to destroy the disease of the 3 poisons. And by realizing the suchness or the true reality of the supreme medicine, may all the mental afflictions be, this pain of mental afflictions be cured. And next is the offering of curd, yogurt. It's the essence of everything. And by realizing the essence of the primordial wisdom, pure primordial wisdom, may you be the essence or the personification of all the excellent qualities, and to pacify with this auspiciousness, may you pacify the 3 poisons. And this is offering of the Bilwa substance. So Bilwa is the substance with its fruit, a course with its fruit. And all the mundane and supramundane conducts transform into the essence of enlightenment. May this auspiciousness bring all the accomplishments. Next is offering of the mirror. Mirror is the ocean of the great primordial wisdom, the great ocean of primordial wisdom. And with the ocean, with the supreme ocean of primordial wisdom being pure, may you enjoy without the hitch this pure Dharma. And with that auspiciousness, may all the obscurations or defilements be purified. Next is the offering of conch. So with this offering of these substances, which were blessed by the Buddha when he was offered them, may this auspiciousness bring longevity to His Holiness the Dalai Lama. So the conch makes the sound of Dharma. The next is the offering of Yungar, mustard seed, white mustard seed. Is the family of Vajra. overcome all the obstacles and to have all the excellent power and qualities of power. And with this, may all the obstacles be overcome or pacified. And then next is this Lichi, Sindura, red in color, representing power, nature of power, so that the master becomes someone who has power, who reigns over all the Dharma. Who sit upon this, or who holds the Dharma's throne, the sovereign Dharma throne. May the Lama Guru have good health, excellent health, and long life. May I never be separated from the perfect Guru, from life after life, and enjoy the Dharma nectar and progress along the path so that I reach the state of Vajradhara. May the Lama live long, may all the upholders of the Dharma fill the earth. And may the patrons of the Dharma have wealth and power, and may the Dharma survive. May there be auspiciousness for the Dharma to survive for long. May the Lama's body be immutable or changing, his speech unhindered, and his mind undistorted. I pray for the body, speech, and mind of the Lama. is another long life prayer titled Chimintayang, Immortality Melody. Longsar Khyentse Chogi Lodru Rinpoche wrote this prayer as well. Whatever merits and wisdom we have accumulated through prostration, offering, making offering, confession, rejoicing, requesting to turn the wheel of Dharma and causing that to pass away. Whatever small merit we have, virtues or wholesome principles we have accumulated, we dedicate it for the attainment of all of this, for the attainment of enlightenment. And next is the Thanksgiving mandala offering. Mandala replete with all the resources. We offer this to His Holiness the Dalai Lama. May you sit upon this Vajra throne with immutable body, may your voice be unhindered. With this Brahma voice, may your mind be unvivered from and reside within this primordial purity. May you reside upon this immutable Vajra seat. And then next we have the auspiciousness. Through the prayer of auspiciousness to the blessings of the three jewels.
Jazi Penzi Dembe Chenlo Ji Nyebe Chendra Gezo Namba Be Todo Bane Nyenden Daji Jo Sanjian Gongdan Zhodan Menzo Ba Dedo Dan Dende Dejo Ji Denjo Donba Lami Chue Ba Songjian Chang Dende Dele Jo Sanjian Gongdan Zhodan Menzo Ba Dedo Dangji Dende Dejo Ji Jewa Chelan Chanzara Dendere Dele Jo Sanjian Gongdan Zhodan Menzo Ba Dedo Dangji Dende Dejo Ji Soje Donba Lami Chue Ba Gaden Chanzara Dende Dele Java Zeje Zenan Dodo Dan Hanan Genje Leba Samba Dan Sama Dodo Ge Denba Nawa Nanji Dende Sena Liu Jendo Denba Dan Junze Nienda Jendo Sawa Dan Nienda Nanga Jendo Chapa De Sumbo Yiri Donda Jiji Chewa Dan Mende Nebe Jangdan Dawa Dan Deba Denjen Benzong Soba Dende Dele Jo Loja Donjen Denja Dongwa Dan Tsere Neme Deje Benzong Do Deba Jola Ngepa Jong Mabo Denja Dende Dele Jo Jemba Donjen Soren Songwa Dan Seba Gangje Zengjen Songba Dan Nyangba Jojin Nilo Doba Zhogo Zenja Dende Dele Jo Nimo Dele Zendele Nime Gongya Dele Jen Nyenzen Dado De Gonjo Songje Dende Do Baden Lame Dende Do Yidan Haye Dende Do Jejong Songme Dende Yida Nangje Dende Do Jongboro Gongda Dene La Zhong Dong Sa Wende Bana Keja Rong Shego Nangla Dado Jen Yenda Zando Jila Jilba Yun Dene Jawa Jaja Dengang Ge Shendo Denba Songjen Zeme Ba Denba Degin Jiba Jile Tara Juru
This is a prayer for the flourishing of the Gonjo teaching. So at the end of each verse it says, may the Dharma, or the doctrine of the victorious lotus bone, spread or flourish.
接着娘做人来前对面就把高端公办这位中根做出去教育电把解决解电送高业讲座经过了双面绝对能不能多当我去龙上送的人出去教育电把解决解没讲少更别吃把当出没把单落叶到晚年送的绝不
True words of the ocean of true words of the Dharma teaching, the profound treasure Dharma jewels adorn it, and therefore the union of the good path of Sutra and Tantra. May this doctrine of the victorious Sambhava flourish.
Paro Gonjo Rebe Longden Ba Menga Neze Deze Nyala Sen Soje Jaye Tenba Jeju Je Mejon Ade Yoge Zangla Ne Mali Jo Kunje Jala Jamba Doje Rojo Ba Soje Jaye Tenba Jeju Je Yangda Sema Sonje Ngaro Ye Tame Redan Sonar Tenju Sengi Tanyang Sasa Jan Soje Jaye Tenba Jeju Zobe Gozon Zo Doje Nyebo Dongze Ba Chole Nambara Jawe Jansen Zo Soji Jaye Tenba Jeju Je Tazo Tenden Jowa Je Tendan Tenbe Nyebo Yangzo Ba Yen Suzhong Ba Soji Jaye Tenba Jeju Je Donan Kezen Jobe Nangdo Jen Jele Bewe Jenle Ga Tenzin Tongbe Satan Yonggang De Soji Jaye Tenba Jeju Je Paten Lame Goze Roden Jen Tenbe Jenda Ngadong Shizun Mendo Nobe Jan Soji Jaye Tenba Jeju Je.
This prayer was written by Jamgon Yipam Chole Namgyal. Next is the prayer for the spread of the teaching of the Buddha in a non-sectarian manner.
Omaran Jenke, Kenlo Chejerason, Loben Renzen, Jemban Toje, de Gonjo Jaden, Yere, Bajoje, Jajen Gaye, Nobe, Denganto, Some Ju, Nede, Runanze, Gonjo Jaden, Yere, Bajoje, Gada, Vesare, Imbe, Longjenbo, Konde, Jugan, Jode, Gonzon de Me, Jaza, Jebe, Gonjo Jaden, Yere, Bajoje, Some Dada, Jajen, Jebe, Yonzo, Dombe, Adesha Jawe Jone Gonjo Jaden Yeren Bajoje Dene Zonje Debe Ga Domba Shibu Sondo Lede Ba Laje Denden Gadon Sejen Jen Gonjo Jaden Yeren Bajoje Jajo Maba Shiba Doje So Chenlo Jone Kaje Na Kumeran Jen Gazon Mejon Wa Gonjo Jaden Yeren Bajoje Konde Juga Lenje Senye Jura Juga Mo Nase Konde Kunjo Chaja Je Konjo Jaden Yeren Bajoje Chena Rine Doma Jungje Ne Cheze Zongla Doden Ale Konden Sejen Saja Ba Konjo Jaden Yeren Bajoje Sonyan Sama Jiden Je Nyanglen Jesu Ne Nanjoro Wangjo Cheje Dambe Son Konjo Jaden Yeren Bajoje Sonme Sanga Lode Tebe Renye La Son Benge Lozon Jawe Den Kondon Jaden Yeren Bajoje Dene Sonda Jude Je Den Yongzo Langje Ngo Koren La Mana Nyaz
This prayer invokes the Buddha Shakyamuni, whose essence is the four bodies, Amitabha, Amitayus, the Supreme Ayurveda, the German Jishri Vajrapani, the frowning Tara, the victor, and the most host of courageous Buddha's children. The seven great successors to the Buddha, the six ornaments, the two supreme ones, the eight Mahasiddhas, the 16 elders, and so forth, who think only of helping the doctrine, wandering beings, the supreme being, and all the bodhisattvas, please listen. The Supreme Able One, Buddha Shakyamuni, during countless eons, through completing the two collections of merit and wisdom, went beyond the all-knowing compassion and ability by the power of his truth. May the entire doctrine of the victorious one flourish for a long time. The pioneers who first opened the door of the light of Dharma in the land of snows, Chandrakshita, Padmasambhava, and Tisungdetsen, the translators, Panditas, Vidyadharas, and the 25 disciples, by the power of your previous pledges, may the victor's doctrine in the land of snow flourish for a long time. The extensive teaching, which are like a jewel storehouse containing the great treasure of profound practices, illuminated by the bright rays of the profound and extensive heart essence, may this victor's doctrine in the land of snow flourish for a long time. So, in this way, the teaching of the Nyingma, Goju, Sakya, Kadam, Geluk are prayed to be flourish for a long time. At the end, His Holiness says, in short, as long as space endures, as long as the sufferings of wandering beings exist, may I too remain as the sole source of help and happiness, directly and indirectly. The prayer of words of truth. The previous prayer is called whatever. Prayer for the well-being or welfare of and happiness of Tibet. Written by Jamgon Gongdro Lotte. And then next is called the prayer of the 10 directions in 4 times. From life after life, throughout my lifetimes, may I never be separated from the glorious Master and enjoy the Dharma and progress along and complete the paths and grounds and reach or attain the state of my glorious Guru. Through the coming of the Buddha in the world, may the Dharma lights, the sun of Dharma, be bright, and all the upholders of the Dharma live in harmony, and through that may the teaching survive for a long time. May they be auspicious for that, for the teaching to survive for a long time. So with this we are done with the long life prayer offering to His Holiness.